Don't worry, we've got you covered. I'm Kelly Wilkniss here with Anita Joyce, and this is Decorating Tips and Tricks, episode 334. Wallpaper, we've got you covered. It's going to be a very, very interesting episode. Wallpaper is so hot, hot, hot. And the episode today is brought to you by Diane James Home. Diane James Home makes the most beautiful faux floral arrangements that really look absolutely real. We'll tell you more about that later. Let's dive into the wallpaper episode.
I had so much fun preparing for today's episode.
The possibilities are endless, right?
Well, as you know, there's a lot of fantastic, beautiful wallpapers out there, and I've found just as many really unattractive wallpapers.
Oh, so is this going to be like partial wallpaper blooper too?
No, I'm not going to be calling anyone out for ugly wallpaper.
Okay,
if that's
okay,
what you
okay.
mean.
You're such a lady.
You
really are.
I try. So
sometimes I just go for the cheap laugh, but you're just really above board.
I try to hold it in. So
tell me later. Send me the links.
But here's the thing. If it reminds me of 1975, I don't like it. I'm just not going to like it.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
So if that's what it looks like, I don't want it. But anyway.
Well, I don't know. I think it's beauty is in the eye of the beholder. But today we're just going to try to open up everybody's eyes to wallpaper. I mean, if you're interested in decor, we've been saying it. So if you listen here, you know it. And if you like decor in general and you're reading magazines and whatnot, you know that wallpaper is back and it is super hot. It's really one of the most transformative ways that you can shake up your decor. I think painting is so transformative, but wallpaper on top of that with pattern, and I mean, really.
I liken it to, because I have changed my house so much. It was full of pattern, color. And then around 2012, I went with all neutrals and very little pattern in my house and not a lot of color. So I like to think of it as somebody who's been maybe vegan. Maybe they were an omnivore and then they went vegan for several years. And then at some point just said, I have got to have a hamburger. That's what I attribute the rise in wallpaper right now. It's all the vegans saying, I have got to have a hamburger. I've gone neutral. I've been told, all this pattern is trendy and it's going to go out of style, which is true, but we still find ourselves craving the color and the pattern.
Okay, I just love that analogy. That was really, really well done. Was that off the top of your head? My goodness.
It was. Pretty much everything is, sadly.
No. We planned it all out. Come on. Everyone can tell.
Right. So I think that's why wallpaper's so hot now, is everyone's tired of the neutral. And so they want a little something. So, I mean, I still think neutral is the safest way to go if you're wanting to save money.
I won't have the fries. I'll have a salad with my burger. I just want a little something. So is that like akin to like paper in your powder room?
Maybe
if you painted your living room, you'd be like, I'll have it like a bacon cheeseburger with the fries.
Well, I think that's what a lot of us did. We're like, we'll have the bacon cheeseburger, the fries, the guacamole, the chips and dip,
and
the
shake.
Tacos. And then we went and threw
right.
And then too much.
Okay, really well done. I'm going to be thinking about that all day. Okay, yes, but we could be craving it. You could be craving it. If you had it before, you might be like, gee, that was fun, a little while outside. But there's so many new things to wallpaper now that make it easier to not only put it up, but take it down. And there's so many additional choices. It's not just, maybe flowers or stripes or a couple of birds or something like that. There's all sorts of new designs, from photorealistic prints, reinterpreted chintzes. There's advancements in the adhesives. So it really is time to look again at wallpaper and consider it a hamburger. and give it a try.
You know you want it. You know you're hungry.
You want it. I can smell it.
I know. I would love to do wallpaper. The problem is most of my walls are textured, so I'm going to have to get them sanded down if I do any wallpaper. And I'm not the kind of person that can wallpaper myself, so I'm going to have to hire somebody.
Well, there are very few people that can, and probably more people that shouldn't. Do you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. I mean, shouldn't. No.
Okay, it's not brain surgery, but it's probably just 5 or 6 steps off that, because I think it'd be really, really hard. And I'm going to talk about some of the specifics of that. And, it's hard to get it right. It really depends on the paper that you choose, obviously. I mean, if you're doing a stripe,
yes,
you can probably handle it if you can measure and you've got a fairly good eye and maybe a person to help so you can stand back and look. But if you're doing something with a lot of pattern or a big, long repeat, I would say that for the professionals. Let me get some of the dry stuff out of the way, because I think that Anita has some actual suggestions on wallpapers and that'll be a little more fun. So,
because that was the fun part to do.
Right. If you're exactly. So, okay. Who's really getting the hamburger here? So if you're a person like our friend Tracy and a few other of our listeners who take notes, sharpen your pencils and get your papers in front of you, because I'm going to give you some things that you want to take notes on. Or if you just want to listen and take it in, you could always refer back later. So some details with respect to wallpaper. I'm not sure why wallpaper has to be sort of cloaked in this mystery the way it is with regard to how you order it and how it's priced. I mean, it just seems like it could be a lot less complicated, but it was probably just always done this way. And maybe years and years ago, people were going to the wallpaper store, the paint store that had some wallpaper books, and someone was helping you. But now we're all pretty much ordering it online. So Just a few things to keep in mind. If you're purchasing American brand wallpaper, so manufactured in America, it is more than likely 27 inches wide. So that could make a difference with the amount that you order. It certainly makes a difference if you're using it in those panels like I did. If you're using it for more of an actual, not wallpapering the entire wall, but you're using it as some sort of accent. And the European wallpapers are 21 inches wide if you're in the UK. And apparently if you're in the rest of Europe, it's 20.5 inches wide. And the Europeans ones, of course, will be measured more than likely in centimeters or meters. So when you're buying online, you need to look at all of that. The other thing that happens with wallpaper is that it is actually sold in double rolls. But here's the catch. They price it as a single roll, but you can't really buy it as a single roll, nor would you really want to, because if you're wallpapering a room, you're going to need more than one roll.
Right.
Because most rolls are Americans around 27 feet long. So it covers, depending on the pattern and all that, somewhere around there's some averages around 50 to 61 square feet. So there's some play in that. And the European ones are about 33 feet long for a roll.
Well, and it is very complicated to figure this out.
Because, why does it have to be so complicated?
I'm going to answer that question for you.
All right.
Well, it kind of has to be because it's square footage. So you've got square footage of wallpaper and square footage of your wall. And so you have to know how much of each you need. But in your room, you've got windows and you've got doors. So it's not just a straight measure of the walls. And then not every wall is the same height. Some walls are 8 feet, some walls are 9 feet, some walls have a big crown molding, some of them don't. So it's really not the same. An 8 foot by 8 foot room in two different homes could be a very different square footage that you would need for the wallpaper. And then the other thing and you just mentioned that depending on the wallpaper, they're different widths. But here's another thing that you have to keep in mind, the repeat, because it absolutely must line up. So you can't just measure how much square footage of wall you have. You've got to figure in that repeat factor. And, a longer repeat is going to require more wallpaper than a shorter repeat.
Yes. So I'm going to tell you the rest that I know here before I forget it all. And then I'm going to tell you something that just happened to me with a long repeat. Okay. So, yeah, my beef with the wallpaper situation is, why don't they just price it as a double roll? You know, and so then you know, like, why does that have to be so? And then people aren't sure. See, the default is going to be double roll. So if you're looking at it and you're like, oh, I wonder if that's a double roll or not. More than likely, if it's not a double roll, it's going to say single roll, because really in America, you almost can't buy anything as a single roll. If you wanted a single roll of, say, some very expensive wallpaper, they would actually charge you a cutting fee, even though they're really not cutting anything. They're just not putting the other roll in there. They would charge you a cutting fee. So you might as well just buy both the rolls. You know what I'm saying? It's like, really? So don't be surprised, say, if you go onto a site and you click that you want one, you're actually purchasing two. So then when you go to check out, it's going to be double the price because it's a double roll. Got it? Okay. So then you've got this thing where, as Anita's saying, you've got a pattern probably in your wallpaper. Very few people are going to put up a wallpaper that's really not going to have anything going on it. Like, you might as well paint.
That's called paint.
Right. So you've got some things are like random matches. Like maybe there's some polka dots or some sort of geometric design or something like that, or like a little flower now and again, and they're not touching each other. Well, they can sort of randomly match that up, and that's the least amount of waste. They may be able to just drop the pieces, the wallpaper down, and it all sort of works out because the whole pattern is that something is just randomly scattered about. But then you have some with these repeats that continue on. And so, they have to line those up. You can do it a couple of different ways, but this is where really, you're going to want to consult a professional. You might do a drop match, so every other strip is the same, or you might have a multi-drop where every third or fourth is the same, wherever they can pick up the pattern. So when the two pieces, when the seams meet, that the pattern is aligned. So then, it gets pretty complicated. So my real life story is that I've been doing a little wallpapering and I'm really digging it. So I wanted to wallpaper the bathroom out here in the barn. And so I picked out this wallpaper, really beautiful. I think I mentioned it on the podcast a little bit ago. It was this long, it's charcoal with sort of like whitish gray roses. But the repeat is super, super long. Like it runs down the whole panels. Just a picture if you unrolled the roll, like the swag of roses would just keep on going. So I had the gentleman who recently did some wallpapering inside come, and the wallpaper wasn't cheap. It was like $78 a double roll. He told me I needed 60 rolls.
What?
So that's 30 double rolls because of the way the room is. And it's just it's not a small bathroom. There's kind of a big storage closet in there and stuff. That is crazy. I don't want to pay. I was going to pay like $600 for just the wallpaper.
Wow.
So I just decided not to do that. And I'm going to paint it. But, so this is all stuff that you have to take into account. You might be very surprised.
Do you think he was correct?
I think he was correct.
Wow.
Yeah. I really do.
60 because rolls is a lot of wallpaper.
He did a wallpaper for me inside recently, that paintable wallpaper.
That must have been a very long repeat. I can't even imagine.
It's
must
so
have been
long.
So much waste.
Yeah, that's what he said. He said, so much waste. He said, in fact, if you had another small room, he's like, or do you want me to do the inside of your closet with it? And I was like, no, no, not really.
Yeah.
Just because that would just be, he would have to cut so much. So you really have to be careful. So I was, so all of that little life lesson, because I was really quite surprised how much it was. I'm thinking, how much could you possibly need here? A couple of double rolls?
That's a rude awakening. That's too bad.
Yeah, so I had to just cross that off my list. I'm not doing that. But
that makes me so sad.
When you're picking out your wallpaper, try not to get your heart set on something that has a really, really long repeat.
But that must have been a really, really long repeat. I don't think that's
really,
typical.
Really, it's not
But some
typical.
of these now come in rolls such that it's a really long repeat, like you're talking about, because it becomes a mural. Have you seen those?
Yeah, but that's not really wallpaper. That's a mural.
Well, but it comes in rolls though, like
Yeah.
wallpaper.
But there's an end to it because it's a mural. So you don't need to buy so much of it.
Right. That's true.
Yeah, I mean a mural. Like my wall it's a bathroom. Like it's not big enough to have a mural on there. But if you have a big wall like that, that is a really cool option. And that's a lot of why we wanted to talk about wallpaper today, because it's not just wallpapering, in the traditional sense. There's so many cool things. Like we've mentioned that adhesive / removable wallpaper, which, you could use as in a traditional sense and actually wallpapering all 4 walls with it and whatnot. But you could certainly use adhesive wallpaper / as a mural. There's so many murals out there that are just really, really cool. Like, you could get anything from, there's this one that I had my eye on for my daughter's dorm room. It's just giant peonies, but it was just it was too big for her dorm room. But I thought, how cool would that look? But it even would have looked good, like starting on one wall and then, going into the 90-degree angle and then coming over. It was just giant.
I think that would have been cool.
I know, wouldn't that be cool? Maybe for next year we'll do that.
I found a couple more types of wallpaper, I should say, that I was very intrigued by.
Okay.
And these are both Graham and Brown wallpapers.
I love Graham and Brown. That's what I have in my Graham and Brown.
Me too.
Graham and Brown. You should work with us. We love you. They did work with me years ago on my blog, and I got this wallpaper, and that's what's in the powder room. Love it. And then I have a blog post or so on that, but we weren't at the point where I could actually put the wallpaper up in the girls' bathroom. But that's the brand that I just put that white paper up, the textured paper that's paintable in the girls' bathroom.
Well, and looking around, I think these were just some of my most favorite papers were the Graham and Brown. Okay, so they have something for walls that are not in perfect condition for wallpaper. So we're talking cinder block, paneling, walls with cracks. I mean, doesn't this sound intriguing? And I'm wondering if I might even be able to use this for my wall that has some, little bit of texture on it.
Well, if you could put it over cinder block.
That's what I'm thinking. Yes. So this is called a paintable. So it's not really.
This is what I have.
Oh, the paintable.
That's what I put up in the girls' room.
Oh, so it's
in the
textured.
bathroom.
So it's textured.
Yes, it looks like small size ceiling tiles. It's like in relief.
Yes.
Squares.
Yes. So you can paint it or not paint it, but it's to go over an uneven wall. Well, that's cool. Okay, so I didn't realize that's what
right, and it doesn't have to go over to uneven wall. I mean, mine are not perfect,
but you can.
But you can, and I thought you had to painst it, but then I actually.
Do you have a picture of this? I do not think I've seen this.
No, because I haven't gone back into their bathroom to take photos since it was put up. But I'll do it.
Oh, I'm excited to see that. Okay, so they have another type of wallpaper that also intrigued me. Now, this has a non-woven backing, so it doesn't expand when it gets wet, and therefore you don't need to soak it. And so just think about how much time you're spending soaking wallpaper before when you fold it over and let it come to readiness to put on the wall. They're saying it takes about a half a.
You sound like a professional. I was like, oh yeah, oh gosh, that takes so long. I've never soaked wallpaper. Like, what do you?
Well, that's what I mean. It takes half the amount of time. Well, they called it soaking.
Okay, I've never done any of that with wallpaper. I've just called the guy with the wallpaper.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I am not the wallpaper expert. So
you sounded like I was very impressed. I mean, really, you're blowing me away today. I have to tell you.
Well, I'm
just going to be quiet.
One of my gifts is I am able to read a website and make notes.
Google master.
I'm very good at that. That's right. Oh, very good at the Google. Okay. So anyway, that's going to cut the time in half that it would take to put it up. So I thought that was very interesting, and I'm very intrigued. I want to, find out more about it.
I want to know more.
I want to know more. Yes.
Yes.
And then of course I would hire someone to do it. Of course.
Well, I think this is not something you'd want to get into. You're paying probably a pretty penny for your wallpaper, and then you don't want to mess it up, and it's going to take a long time. I mean, I think this would be if you had to say, oh, I have money to hire someone to do X or wallpaper, I think it would be the wallpapering. So paint
Right.
the other room if you don't have the budget for both those things. And I think you'll be much happier if you hire out for wallpapering.
Right.
I think it's a lot more complicated than people think.
Right. So they called it soaking, but I would call it booking. You know what?
Okay, you're blowing me totally out of the water. Totally out of the water. I have to move on. I'm going to say something now. Get swatches. Everybody that sells wallpaper is going to send you a swatch. And they're actually fun to play with. And then, you can make gift tags out of them if you don't like it, or, you could do anything with it. You can also ask if you love a wallpaper and you're like, oh gosh, I want to put that in a bathroom or a place where it's going to get wet. You can ask if it can be printed on a vinyl. And it's not like the vinyl like I had in my room when I was 11, where it's kind of plastic and shiny looking.
Right.
It's just a material that can take some water. And if you're concerned, if it says on the website, oh, this, can stand up to water, which I'll tell you, I was concerned about this Graham and Brown. And they did say, I mean, I wouldn't scrub it because it's relief. You'd probably take the relief off. Oh, they said you could. But I was like, my girls are splashers. So, and I have a pedestal sink in there. And
this wallpaper would probably be perfect to protect your wall. It sounds like it handles water, right?
Well, I was a little concerned that because it's relief, it almost, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying it's spongy, but there's, to make the relief, it's like kind of like, I don't know what you would call it. It kind of can push it in a little bit. And it's not like it's
That's
squishes,
the impression I got from it. Yes.
But it's like there's some sort of give to it a little bit. And I thought,
but I don't think it's made of like a marshmallow where it's going to melt if it gets wet.
No. But I was afraid if it got really wet, it would just like the pattern would somehow get screwed up or something like that. So when I got my sample, I put it in a tray of water.
Oh, stop it. You're the smart one.
I am really sometimes. I really like these. I'm like, wow, that was pretty good. But then I can't remember my own phone number. But yeah, so I put it in there and I let it sit there for like 24 hours. Then I took it out and I literally, somebody I should have made a video of this. I literally scratched it with my nails. Because I was like, this is probably what they will do with the end of their toothbrush or something.
Right.
Nothing happened to it. So it's good.
Wow.
Yeah. And then, so you could test it. You could do all of that. Ask if it could be printed on vinyl. And then I would get a couple of estimates. If you do go with a professional, don't just go with the first person. Make sure when they come to your house that if you don't have the wallpaper yet, if you haven't purchased it, make sure you've got it pulled up online or you print out the page of the listing so they can see the repeat, not so written down, not just so they're eyeballing it. Right. Because it might be like, 3 birds off to the left. They're not seeing so it's important that they actually see in the text of the description what the wallpaper has on it and what the repeat is. And now if you love a wallpaper, but you think, oh, that's a little costly, you could always just do it on half the wall. You could do like a chair rail and then you could paint the bottom or vice versa.
Or just one wall.
I know, but we're kind of anti-accent wall now. But
well, I am, but I know I am, but we are, but somebody still could do that if they wanted.
Oh, of course.
We have a no judgment. This is a no judgment zone.
No judgment. In fact, this is not an accent wall, but similar to what I did with the long panels that I filled with the wallpaper.
Exactly.
And you guys are probably tired of me saying this, but people love that. And I get questions about those all the time. So I could put the link, but a longtime lovely listener, Lisa D, emailed the other day. I don't know which one she was listening to, maybe things to do with your wall. And she said she was going to do 3 panels over, maybe it was about like different kind of headboards or whatever. She was going to make 3 sort of like frames on her wall behind her bed and add wallpaper inside them. Isn't that cool?
That's a great idea.
I know. So she was saying, I don't know, I wasn't sure if she was 100% asking me or if she was telling me, but I offered up this wallpaper that I have in my powder room because she wanted one with branches on it. And that trailing mica from Graham and Brown that I have in my powder room is just really lovely with these branches and some birds and butterflies.
Nice. Well, now I also did a little research on another way that you can save money on your wallpaper. And Graham and Brown, for example, does have a 75% off clearance section where you can get really marked down wallpaper. Obviously, it's just limited to whatever they have on clearance at the time. And then I found another place where wallpaper goes to be sold away at a discount.
It's the land of misfit wallpaper rolls.
Is eBay. Did you know that? I hadn't even thought of it. Yeah,
so what is it, like overstocks that land there?
I think it's overstocks or stuff that just isn't selling. I'm not really sure.
So it's ugly wallpaper. You guys will love it. It's great.
Oh, stop.
I mean, Anita wouldn't put it in her house, but
it's
there for the taking.
Look, we don't know. It could be that they just had an overrun.
I'm joking. Of course. I'm sure there's a lot of it's really pretty. I mean,
no, I'm sure there's something that you will not want in your house there. There's probably plenty of that. But it's kind of like going to some of these discount places where you just kind of have to sort through the bin.
I'm all about sorting through the bin.
There's 3 pieces of gold in there with 200, 500
and I'm going to find it.
Junk,
that.
You just got to search for it.
Don't you just love a great recommendation from a friend? Well, we're delighted to be recommending these companies and their wonderful products to you today. And let them know your friends at DTT sent you. Inevitably, with the new year come wellness goals. One very effective and easy to reach goal is to add dose to your wellness regime. Dose is expertly formulated organic wellness shots that support your liver in one delicious drink. Formulated with ingredients clinically shown to support liver health, potent turmeric, milk thistle, and ginger. There's 0 sugar and 0 calories. Did you know that your liver performs over 500 special functions? Since I learned all that my liver is doing, I started with Dose to support all those vital functions. I take a shot of refreshing Dose 2 times per week to combat everyday toxins from food, meds, alcohol, and unhealthy air. Since starting with Dose about a month ago, I am definitely feeling an overall improvement in my health. So if you want to give Dose a shot and invest in your health like I have, Dose is offering DTT listeners 15% off your first order, plus an additional 15% off if you subscribe for a monthly delivery. That's 30% off your first order. So go to dosedaily.co/DTT and use the code DTT. That's dosedaily.co.co/DTT and use the code DTT. Green Chef is a delicious delight any time of year, but especially during the holidays. What a wonderful vision to behold as the Green Chef boxes on your doorstep. Green Chef is the #1 meal kit for eating well. And it makes eating well so easy with plans to fit every lifestyle, whether you're keto, paleo, vegan, vegetarian, gluten-free, or just looking to eat a more balanced diet. So let Green Chef take the work out of eating clean this holiday season. And if you've got guests coming, shop Green Bundles. They're now available at the Green Market. It's your one-stop shop for nutritious grab-and-go breakfasts, including vegan options, brunch kits, wholesome lunches, ready-to-eat snacks, veggie sides, and more. You can feel your best this December and do your best with Green Chef because they offset 100% of the delivery emissions as well as 100% of the plastic in every box. Go to greenchef.com/60DTT and use the code 60DTT and get 60% off plus 20% off your next 2 months. greenchef.com/60DTT and use the code 60DTT to get 60% off plus 20% off your next 2 months. Flowers are back. Did we not declare that this was going to be sort of the year of chintz? And chintz wallpaper is being reimagined and it's coming back. So, it's not sort of the, your grandma's wallpaper. It's not Laura Ashley's wallpaper. It's new and fresh and could be so fun in your bedroom, definitely a guest room, a powder room. Like, as much as I'm really excited about the wallpaper coming back and all the design opportunities that, that opens up, still for me, I would do it in a smaller room, particularly just the way my house is designed. even though I don't have open concept, you can see my dining room from my living room and my entry and all that. I don't really have too many rooms sort of onto themselves other than a bedroom or two and the powder room. So I have now both bathrooms are wallpapered, and I'm considering some wallpaper on a ceiling or two. Because
Well,
I love that fifth
I
wall.
just was going to say that. That's another way you can go is just do your ceiling.
Yeah.
I think that's a pretty cool thought.
Yeah. And you know what's a big design that's coming back?
What?
Is the banana leaf.
Oh, yes. I've been seeing a lot of that. A lot of the tropical motifs with big leaves for sure.
Right. And I think they've actually, I believe the company is CW Stockwell. And I believe, and I could be wrong, so if I am, somebody can let me know, that they designed the original banana leaf wallpaper, which has been hanging in the Beverly Hills Hotel for, ever. And now they've sort of reimagined that and freshened it up. And it really looks sharp. I mean, it is a definite statement. It is a definite look, and it's not going to go with everybody's stuff. But, how fun would that be? Like if you lived in Palm Springs or not Palm Springs, Palm Beach or someplace warm and you could pull that off. I think it's pretty fabulous. So, and really could be fun for the summertime, again, in something like a frame that you just drop it in and you can change it out.
Oh, what a great idea.
Yeah. So maybe, maybe just order a sample and put it in.
Oh, stop it. You're so bad. And then from what I'm reading, now I haven't done this myself, but it looks like you can get custom made wallpaper on Etsy. Just search for that if that's something you're interested in.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, I thought it really is. Because there's so many in the way things are done today, you can have your own custom made fabric. Why not your own custom made wallpaper?
Yeah, you probably can. And if you're not so much for pattern, if you're not going to, go gaga over the banana leaves or the chintzes or something, there are definitely wallpapers for you too. There's ones that are more impressionistic. There's ones that are low contrast and they kind of like marbleized. And then there's actually these like tone on tone faux suede. So you're just getting sort of a texture on your wall, which it's not like just color like you could get from a paint. So it's definitely giving you a feel of an actual texture. That could be really cool. And the thing about some of the temporary wallpapers, which we were mentioning, either these adhesives or the mural type things, you don't have to order in the double rolls. You can order in smaller quantities with the removable wallpaper.
And while you're talking about removable wallpaper, I did find several companies who sell that. There's a few that I found real quickly. There's Hygge and West, Chasing Paper, Walls Need Love, West Elm, Wall Candy Arts, and Wall Alternatives. And I think Soft Surroundings has some as well. So those are just a few.
Anthropology, I think even. I think a lot of people getting in on the action there.
Yes. So they're available a lot of places. Just check around.
And actually, there are a lot of people on Etsy that do it as well. I believe it was my client that I was working with in New York, and we were doing this wallpaper that she had seen over her two fireplaces. And it was kind of like a bump out of the walls. And we needed a certain width because we didn't want a lot of seams. And the wall, I think it was Walls Need Love. Well, they were very nice and easy to deal with. They just couldn't make it wide enough. But this woman on Etsy was able to. She must have had the most gigantic or access to some gigantic printer for this thing to come out like that. And she was able to make the exact wallpaper. We had a few goes back and forth because we got samples until she got the color right, but she was able to make it really wide. So it covered the entire expanse without a seam. So that was pretty cool. So there are a lot of options out there. So even if you find a wallpaper and you're like, oh, that's really not wide enough for me, or maybe even I love this, but I'd love it in a different color, take some time to poke around on Etsy. There are people that do this, and maybe you could ask them, just message them and see if you could get it custom made the way you want it and to the width that you'd want. One of my favorite wallpaper companies is, besides Graham and Brown, which I do like a lot, is House of Hackney. And they are just really fun to even just follow on Instagram. You'll get a lot of great inspiration from there. That is the company that made the wallpaper that I have in my panels. And that's how I sort of got introduced to them. Very, very beautiful and really high quality papers.
Well, and I'm found so many beautiful wallpapers. Do you want me to start talking about some of the ones I chose, or do you want us to talk about?
Yeah.
Okay. I found something called Lepidoptera, and I don't know if that's the brand or I have a feeling it's the brand at Anthropology. It's just picture kind of a charcoal gray background wallpaper, and it's covered with butterflies and dragonflies, and it's kind of a cool green, a mint green, and it's got some browns and a few other colors in it. So it almost looks like a botanical print of, but not botanicals, but you know what I mean? One of those kind of educational prints with a.
See, now that would be phenomenal in a room. Of course, imagine that in a guest room or something, but that would be great.
It's really
dropped
beautiful.
into some frames.
Mm-hmm. Oh, in a frame, it would be amazing.
That sounds really pretty.
Yeah. I mean, I have several. Do you
Can
want
you
me
link all these?
Oh, yes. I've got links for everything. I already have the links.
Okay. Keep going then.
Okay. Another one is Anthropology Ottoman. So think about like a Turkish rug with blues and greens and peach. And it's just kind of a repeat on that pattern, a pretty simple repeat. And that is at Anthropology, and it's just beautiful. And it's so if you like lots of pattern, there's a lot going on, but there's a lot of repeating going on, but it's just a very busy pattern, but it's beautiful. So if you like kind of a Turkish rug, I think you'll like this. Okay, I can keep going. You just tell me when you want me to stop. There was
I want you to keep going. I'm on the edge of my seat.
Okay, well, there is another one with a dark turquoise background, and it's got gold highlights. It's a very simple. This one's a very simple pattern, very simple repeat, and it's called Honeybee, although the pattern doesn't really look like a bee to me. That's at Anthropology, and again, I'll have links for all of this, but this is a beautiful wallpaper if you want something that's just very simple. And then I think one of my favorites is apparently a very famous pattern, a Morris and Company. It's called Strawberry Thief Wallpaper. I don't know. Are you familiar with that one?
No.
It's, again, very, very busy pattern, but it's got lots of blues, greens, and it's got birds on it. And the Strawberry Thief, it's the birds eating the strawberries. So there's some strawberries on there too.
That's happening to me, but I don't think it's charming birds. Some things that are lower to the ground.
Yes. Okay. And then another one, Pharaoh and Ball Hornbeam. It looks like lots of trees all over the wallpaper, but the background is kind of a dark blue and the trees are kind of a light blue. So this is another pretty busy. It's just a beautiful, I mean, I think this would give you kind of the look of an English cottage, kind of an English house with all that busy, beautiful pattern. And if you want something simpler, I found a Pharaoh and Ball tinted stripe that was beautiful. And so it looks like kind of one of those elegant yard or garden tents someone might have for a garden
party. Like an awning stripe?
Yes, it's kind of like an awning stripe, only it's a little thinner. It's several lot thinner stripes, but that's beautiful. And I think I just have one or two more. Pharaoh and Ball Renaissance. It's a gorgeous lavender and white wallpaper. It's kind of got some stylized birds and flowers on it, but I like it that it's just got the two colors. And sometimes when you've got just the two colors, you can have even more pattern going on. And then one last one. Okay, I'm going to skip down to this one. It is AJA. I really don't know how to pronounce that, but it's Periwinkle by Justina Blakeney. Asia, lavender, periwinkle, and dusty blue, all in one pattern. And it's like palm fronds almost, kind of all interwoven. It's another very busy pattern, but striking color and beautiful. And those are my picks.
Oh, wow. That sounds so great. Great. It's great to curate the universe like that and just give people ideas, even if, they say, oh, I went to the link that Anita suggested, but that's not for me. But I found 3 others there that I love. So yeah, Open your mind to all the opportunities of wallpaper and then all the places where you can purchase gorgeous wallpapers.
I think it's so personalized. There's just thousands and thousands of patterns. So, yeah, I think it's hard to find one pattern that everyone's going to be happy with. So, yeah, I don't know that they're, you may like the ones I chose, but you may not. But that's right. I think these are great companies where you'll probably find something that you like.
Yeah. Really great tips. BritBox just keeps getting better. The new Archie is amazing. And it's not the comics. It's about Cary Grant. Archie is the brand new limited series starring Jason Isaacs as Archie Leach, the man who became Cary Grant. From the award-winning screenwriter of Philomena, Archie tells Grant's born in Britain, made in Hollywood story, the dramatic grit to glamour transformation that led him to become one of the most famous people in the world. You are going to absolutely love the acting, but also the styling, the outfits, the scenery. It's the first time his story has been told in collaboration with his daughter Jennifer Grant and ex-wife Diane Cannon. The performances from Jason Isaacs and the rest of the cast are amazing, and it's only available on BritBox. So sign up for BritBox today to stream Archie and other fan favorites from any device. And we have a special limited time offer for our U.S. and Canadian listeners. Get 50% off, yes, that's 50% off your first month when you sign up for a monthly plan. But only if you go to BritBox.com and use our promotion code DTT at checkout. You're going to love Archie. So head over right now and get 50% off your first month of BritBox. Use the promotion code DTT at BritBox.com. Pesto pork chops over Parmesan polenta. Not that easy to say, but oh so easy to make with Green Chef. Green Chef is the #1 meal kit company for eating well, and we have such a great deal for you. You're going to save $250. Listen on for the details on that. Green Chef makes eating well easy for any lifestyle, whether you're keto, paleo, vegan, vegetarian, gluten-free, or just looking to eat more balanced meals. You know, we're getting into the busy holiday season, so it's a perfect time to have Green Chef help you out. Let Green Chef take the work out of eating clean this holiday season with their chef-crafted, nutritionist-approved recipes featuring fresh ingredients and nothing artificial. And you know what? You don't have to lose track of your healthy eating habits during the holidays. Every Green Chef customer gets a free session with their registered dietitians who will walk you through how to make clean eating work for you. So sign up for your free session and start on the road towards better health today. And that deal I want to tell you about, visit greenchef.com/DTT250 and use the code DTT250 for $250 off your order. So that's greenchef.com/DTT250 and use the code DTT250 for $250 off your order. Okay, do you have a crush today?
Well, I do. My crush today is the Ford Ranger pickup truck. Evie and I, what's so funny about that?
Pickup truck. I love it. Okay.
Well, Evie and I test drove it today. Ford had an event in Houston for influencers, and we went down and test drove it. And I was really impressed. I have to say, it has just all these features that you would think of being in a high-end car where kind of like one of the luxury brands where if somebody walks in front of your car, the car hits the brakes, whether you're choosing to or not.
Oh, wow.
Things like that, and Apple CarPlay, and, a lot of other things like, one option is that you can get one of those Yakima tents that is custom made to go on top of the pickup bed, where it's like a little tree fort. And it comes with a ladder to climb up there, and it's made where you just kind of pop it up on there. You get wherever you're going, do a little glamping.
Oh, how fun!
I know.
Or even if you have kids and that you have a part of the driveway, they could play in it.
Exactly. Yeah. So I thought it was very nice, and this is a vehicle that they had for a long time, and it's kind of a mid-sized truck. And in 2011, they stopped making them. So this is the first year that they're making them again. But they've really reinvented it, and I was quite impressed with all the features, which I won't, go through the whole list of them. But it's certainly something. If you're in the market for a mid-sized pickup truck, go check them out.
Oh wow, that's so cool! What a cool thing to get invited to. Good for you. How fun!
Yeah, it was fun. What's yours?
Well, my crush today is I've done quotes before. Sometimes something strikes me, and I consider it definitely a crush because it'll be a word or a thought that sort of floats around in my head for a while. And this one, not only did I really like it, but it reminded me of Anita and something that she says often. And so when I say it, it might remind you of something.
Put a fork in it?
Shut up, Kelly. No, neither of those things. Okay, here we go. Perfection is achieved not when there is nothing more to add, but when there is nothing left to take away.
Oh, I love that.
Oh. So,
good.
You leave not leave, like achieve some empty space. Let your room breathe a little bit. It doesn't have to be smashed up with everything that you own. All your collection does not have to be displayed at the same time, all those things. But I just thought that put it so succinctly and sort of a little zen-ish. And I really liked that.
Well, it sounds so much more eloquent than something that we would say. So I love that.
Yes, I'm going to start saying this when we talk about leaving empty spaces. Oh, you mean when you're trying to achieve perfection? No. That sort of thing. And today we have I think we'll do the tip right now. We'll save we have another question, but we have a tip today, which will fit nicely with some of the things we were talking about. Our dear listener, Darcy H, had emailed us with a suggestion for doing decorating for entertaining, which I think is a great idea, Anita, and we should put that on the list for sure. So thanks, Darcy, for that. And in doing so, she sent a lovely email about her planning for when she has people over. And she was having people over, I think it was for a St. Patrick's Day gathering at the time when she sent the email. And there were several tips, which we can go into when we do that episode. But here's one I wanted to share right away because I think it's a really good one. And one it never even dawned on me. Her idea is to prepare a vase or two with water and floral preservative and just keep it out of sight. So in your butler's pantry or someplace in your kitchen. So when a thoughtful guest arrives with flowers in hand, you don't have to scramble to find a vase, fill it up while other people are pouring into your house. And that way you can also display the flowers if you'd like during your event. And the person really feels good about that. That's what they brought instead of like, oh, thanks, crunch, crunch. And you throw it in the corner and you see the flowers later on and they're already wilted. So, just like the old Girl Scout motto, be prepared. And that's a really great thing to do.
Boy Scout motto, but
no, is it a Girl Scout? The Girl Scouts motto is buy my cookies.
It's definitely the Boy Scout motto. Because I was kind of a Boy Scout, but whatever.
Oh, okay. I think it's Girl Scouts too.
I was an honorary. It wasn't. You couldn't really. Girls couldn't be Boy Scouts back then, but I was an honorary one because my dad was the troop leader. So.
Oh, well, that's the den person, right? I was a 2-time Girl Scout troop leader, so I think I'm pretty clear on the mottos. But all right.
Well, no, you could be. No, I don't know the Girl Scout one, so I don't know.
Joking. On my honor, I will try to serve God and my country. I won't go on. I know it. I bet there's a lot of Girl Scouts out there listening to us, so you can fill us in with some of your Girl Scout ideas. Mm-hmm. But I love that idea from Darcy. Really, really, really great tip because maybe people are going to do a lot of entertaining in the summer. People tend to entertain them maybe a little bit more in the summer. And we're going to do our next episode all about summer decorating. And there might be some tips for entertaining tucked in there as well.
Wow. Well done. Great idea. I love that. Well, thanks for hanging out with us. As always, I had so much fun and I learned so much about wallpaper. Doing research for this and hearing what Kelly had to say. So remember, we're here to inspire you to create a beautiful home. Until next time.
I want to remind you that we are available for design consults. We take on your design dilemmas, questions, renovations, any project you want to talk about, any room, any space, we are here for you. And we really do enjoy doing these. And I think we've helped people a lot. So if you want to sign up for a consult, head to the link in the show notes. It's decoratingtipsandtricks.com/consult. We hope to talk to you soon.